In today's video, we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of two different aftermarket exhaust pipe options. The TEC Stinger 2-into-1 exhaust over there on that Interceptor versus the S&S slip-ons over here on this Continental. I'm Adrian from YouMotorcycle. I make videos that help motorcyclists. Today we will be doing a walk-around comparison, kind of looking at both bikes, seeing how they idle, how they rev up, how they sound side-by-side next to each other. Then we'll be taking both bikes out for a ride and just seeing how they actually sound like in the real world. And then third and last part will be coming back here, looking at both bikes again and kind of giving you my final thoughts after riding each of these two motorcycles with these two different exhaust pipes and letting you know which one I prefer. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's turn both bikes on and see how they sound. It's a nice slow rumble. Now we'll do the same with the TEC. You can tell there's something missing from that 2-in-1. It's a little different. Again, for comparison, and then we'll rev it up this time as well. A little lower tone. Sounds like a little bit more like Dolby surround sound. This feels a little raspier. More of a bit of a bass only. More of just noise and a kind of a rougher tone. You can really tell that sound is it's not as three-dimensional feeling with only having the one pipe out. See what happens when we rev it up. Sounds good. Let's rev it up. Interesting. Let's have them both on at the same time, see which one's louder. You know, I'm standing right in the middle of both, and I don't have a decibel meter, but they're both pretty much the same to me. When I stand here, I can still hear them both. When I stand here, I can still hear them both. They sound pretty much equal. So that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. It does sound a little bit like mono versus stereo with the one out versus the two out. So that was kind of neat. This one does sound a little bit raspier. This one maybe a little bit quieter but deeper. But then again, when I had them idling next to each other and I stood in the middde, it doesn't matter if I stood in the middle, stood in front, stood to the side of either one at equal distances, they kind of both sounded the same level to me at idle. So yeah, let's do some more exploring this and then take them out for test ride and stuff and think about it some more. Just got in from riding. Hard to put in words, but I would say the TEC is raspier, it's gravelier, it does feel louder, and I don't know if that's just in my head because you're getting all the noise just out of one spot as opposed to the noise maybe being shared between two gives you that effect. I don't know, I should get a decibel reader next time, I guess. This was really impromptu, so it's just kind of, we're doing the best we can. Yeah, on the other hand, the S&S felt and sounded more refined, more classic, more what you would expect. It sounded good, but it sounded kind of brattier. But I guess that brings you to the point where it's like, okay, what do you actually buy? And that's where we gotta talk about price. Let's talk about some comparison points. When it comes to installation will be easier with the S&S, and that's because you have basically one bolt up here to take out, one bolt for the clamp underneath here, and you slide the old ones off, put those two bolts, slide the new ones on, you're good. Installation with the TECs will be a little bit more complicated. Obviously, you'll have the same two bolts to remove and the same two bolts to put in. Then you'll have this mid pipe, and then you'll have to actually remove your original headers and put in your new headers. So, a little bit more involved with the TECs. I'm gonna say advantage S&S. One thing to note on the topic of installation is the TECs are not supposed to work with engine guards, but somehow this one has been made to work. Do we have clearance? No, not really. We're kind of touching. Versus if you check out the S&S, obviously not a problem because we're using the OE headers, so lots of clearance over here. Advantage S&S. Third point for discussion is materials used. They both are stainless steel. This is obviously a brushed stainless steel. And over here they have a 304 stainless steel. 304 refers to what percentage of which different metals make up this stainless steel. They're obviously going for two very different looks. This one using the original headers, keeps it kind of chrome, kind of basic. This one here, something totally different. It's really going to come down to what your style is. I call this a tie because it's up to you. When it comes to weight savings, the S&S system saves you 11.5 pounds over stock, which is pretty dang amazing. Except for one thing. When you don't have any exhaust over here, that makes a big difference. The TEC system saves you a whopping 26.5 pounds. That is huge. Advantage, big advantage, TEC. And then there's the baffle, which you will have to pay extra for with TEC. It seems like it comes for free with S&S. Honestly, that's not as big of a deal as you might think because we'll talk about price at the end. I call this one a draw.
Timeout. I made a mistake a couple days ago when I was recording. So the S&S gives you 13% more horsepower. Obviously, that is huge. The TEC only gives you 2% more horsepower, which better than nothing, right? But, you know, obviously, big advantage. S&S. While I have you here, though, I just want to point out, if you are interested in seeing how things compare, I love comparison stuff. I have a whole series comparing my Interceptor 650 versus the Bonneville 865 that I sold versus my Moto Guzzi V7 750 over here behind me. If you're interested, I will link to that playlist at the end of this video or in the comments section. And yeah, let's go back to the video footage from a couple days ago.
Lastly, S&S you'll have to get exclusively from your Royal Enfield dealer, which may or may not be a good thing depending on where you are in the world. Likewise, you can get them directly from TEC if you want the TEC Stinger exhaust. They do ship everywhere, but you will be looking at paying shipping, maybe duties, so you have to figure that in there. And I think this leads us to price. The price difference between these exhaust pipes is a lot. You're looking at around, with taxes shipped to my door for the TECs, you're looking at, I think, $502 US to my P.O. box in New York State. If I buy these in New York State, I'm looking at, with taxes, about $980. So literally almost twice as much. Am I getting twice the exhaust pipes? I mean, yeah, I guess in a way. But am I really getting twice the exhaust pipes? To my taste, does the S&S sound better? Yes, absolutely. But which one do I think is prettier? Well, it's rough. Because honestly, I wish both of them were chromed. That's just kind of my style. If we chrome that one, it would be even more ridiculously expensive for what is basically two slip-on pipes. If we chrome this one, it would stop being so affordable. So I guess there's that. Overall though, which one do I like better? Which one would I pick? I gotta say it, the S&S, you get what you pay for. That's probably the better exhaust pipe. I think there's a reason why they work so closely with Royal Enfield and vice versa. Those are great pipes. But do I like them twice as much as the TEC? No. No, not for what's supposed to be an economically priced entry to intermediate level motorcycle. If I want to spend big money on pipes, it's going to be on something that's, you know, big price tag, makes a big difference in terms of power. On a 650 that's kind of a chill bike, I don't know that I need to spend all that money. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you have either one of these exhaust pipes, I'd love to hear what your experiences with them are. If you could trade one for the other, would you do it? If you had to spend twice as much or half the price for one or the other, which one would you get? Leave me a comment. I'm Adrian from YouMotorcycle. Thank you so much for watching. Ride safe, but have fun. Peace.